Hola everybody, it's Carpaccio with the weekly Pele report, March 20th of 2024, and I cannot come up here to Lake Tahoe. If it ain't one set of mountains, it's another. I am finding myself so attracted to the mountains, where the air is fresh and clean. Oh yeah, anyway. Big week this week. Today, Mercury is conjunct Chiron. We're going to have a bunch of Chiron stuff coming up here, right up to April 8th, the solar eclipse. I'm going to be doing a whole free webinar on that. Don't forget to click that link below in the notes. And on the 24th, this weekend, Sunday, I am going to be doing a full webinar on. There's the lunar eclipse, which is happening on Monday. 5 degrees 07 minutes of Libra, we have a lunar eclipse. The moon is out there, and she's basically coming into an opposition with just about everything. Today she's in Leo, right? And so you can see that all the other planets are pretty much starting with Pluto in Aquarius. They're in Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, and Taurus. So when the moon goes out there, it's called a bucket. Yeah, she's like a handle, and she is at odds with everybody. Pretty wild. There is the lake. You can just see the lake. That's an airport down there. And then this is where the fire was. So we got some burn. We got some burn here. Fire sign of Leo, and she stays in Leo until tomorrow. She goes into Virgo, and when she goes into Virgo, she's going to be doing all kinds of stuff, opposing Neptune on Sunday, and then, But the other big news that I really want to talk about is what? I mentioned it last week, Venus conjunct Saturn. That is exact tomorrow, but it's today, tomorrow, Friday. You may be feeling it through the weekend. And then, if that's not enough in Pisces, Mars goes into Pisces on Friday. So, yeah, we got lots to talk about here. Yeah? Lunar eclipse, Mars in Pisces, Venus conjunct Saturn, Mercury conjunct Chiron. All right, well, I just wanted to get you a little bit of Lake Tahoe here. I'm going to find a place, but I don't know if it's going to be around here, and talk at ya. Ha-ha! Surprise! I am not in the snow. I went up to Tahoe last weekend to go sledding, with the kids and stuff. You can see it. If you look very closely, that are those snow-covered mountains back there, but it's melting fast. I mean, it was melting when I was up there. So I'm back down here in the foothills at my office. I really like this office. There's a lot of birds and bugs and everything around here, and I can just meditate a little bit, figure out what I'm going to say, because as usual, there is a lot to say. There's so much to say. I mean, but, I'm not feeling so good today, or in general. I think I have allergies. Oh, por Dios. I could be allergic to something around here, and that is a drag. I mean, I'm taking the local honey from the local honeybees. That's what they say is the best thing for these local allergies. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how long I last in today's Pele report. But like I said, there's so much going on. I mean, after the Pele report, I'm going back to write the lunar planner. I don't know if you are subscribed, to the lunar planner, or you check out the blog on my website. Every week we come out with the lunar planner. And if you're in the New Paradigm School of Astrology, you get a day-by-day breakdown of each and every aspect. Did you know that? And then I'm doing 2-hour free webinar on this eclipse. This eclipse that's coming up. I mean, this is just a weekly report, right? I do this weekly report. So, this is going to, be about the lunar eclipse, but I cannot isolate it from the solar eclipse. We are in what they call the eclipse season. And this eclipse season, has a south node lunar eclipse, followed by 2 weeks later, April 8th, a north node solar eclipse. And that solar eclipse is not only a total solar eclipse, this is a prenumbral lunar eclipse. It's not really as powerful, as strong. It's pretty far away from the nodes. It's at 5 degrees. The nodes are at 15. So 10 degrees away from, where the nodes is where the path of the moon crosses the ecliptic, the path of the sun. So the closer they are to the nodes, right, the more total the eclipse. So, 2 weeks from now, okay, that sun has moved from 5 Aries, 14 degrees, and boom, at 19 degrees, it's amazing to the minute. Sun, moon, Chiron, 19 degrees, 24 minutes of Aries. Mark your chart. And join me on Sunday. There's a link below in the notes, or you can go to newparadigmastrology.com, find the link, sign up for, this, because I'm going to go into that. I'm going to take it through the houses and, talk way more about the eclipses. Right now, this week, there's this lunar eclipse is in so many ways, it is a preparation for the solar eclipse. Yes, the moon is on her south node, so she's weaker. Whenever a planet is conjunct its north node, it's very strong. When it's conjunct its south node, it's weaker. So she's weaker now, and the sun is strong by the north node, right? So what that says is that this is a time, this week, the sun, your solar purpose, okay, the identity, the conscious, active, powerful self is able to see its reflection in the subconscious, the instinctive, the habitual, the inner emotional nature, the habitual patterns, the childhood patterning and conditioning. This is a time of really, it's like the moon is reflecting back to us our past. And the thing is that it's doing it in Libra, of all places, which is relationship and partnership. So what we're getting is a reflection of our subconscious, instinctive, somewhat, animal or undeveloped, habitual patterns that we don't see about ourselves. We're enlisting other people to bring these to our awareness. It's called shadow work. Yeah? Whoa, Nelly. And it's a time of really seeing our patterns. And so I want to read to you one of my favorite definitions, I would say, of shadow. It is by Alexandra Katakakis. Yes, she runs the Center for Healthy Sex in Los Angeles. And this is a quote. It's copyrighted, so I mean, I hope she's cool with me sharing it. But I get this emailed to me. You can get on her email list and get the Mirror of Intimacy, daily reflections on emotional and erotic intelligence. And so, boom, just a couple days ago, I got this one on shadow, and it's like, yes. And I know some of you like it when I read to you, so I'm going to read to you today. Sunlight shines on us and casts our shadow on the earth. In the same way, the inner light of consciousness shines in each of us and casts an inner shadow wherever we're not transparent. Any act, thought, or feeling we perceive as not right casts a shadow. So it's true that if you spot it, you got it. Thus, we all know at some level that pulling a geographic is ineffective. We can't run away from our problems because we are their source. I'm learning that personally because I've been running for most of my life. Still, most of us stay blind to our shadow, which we readily project onto others. Partners, parents, strangers on the street, media personalities. We all project our most negative and positive traits outward, even though to others, they're as plain as the nose on your face. This is the part that I really like. The trouble is, we can't see our own nose without a mirror. Life is that mirror. If we look into our life, we can develop personal and relational consciousness. Look at the character defects in others that aggravate you most. The shadow in you amplifies them in your personal drama, like the proverbial butterfly's wings, whose fluttering creates a hurricane on the other side of the world. If you deceive, rage, or manipulate a lot, your shadow will allow you to hide out among people who deceive, rage, or manipulate a lot. Does your partner frustrate you with sexual or emotional unresponsiveness? You can bet that you habitually dismiss your own unresponsiveness elsewhere. Recalibrate your outward expression. Receive a proportioned response. Change yourself. Change this world. No other way. And she goes on. The shadow is a gift for those who know how to shadow play. To enlighten yourself on where your shadows lie, notice the ways others work your nerves and locate the feeling of this shadow in your own actions. And to see where you secretly shine, discern the behaviors you most admire in others. Wholeness and transparency are not achieved by escaping or expunging one's nature. Only by embracing and integrating all aspects of livingness, good and bad. Today, whenever blaming another overshadows your thoughts, tell yourself in truth, I've done that too. And remember when you have. Then forgive both of you. Isn't she awesome? That is fantastic. That's the shadow work. I've done a lot of that shadow work with the Mankind Project, and it's the whole thing of you spot it, you got it. Yeah. And so this is a time, particularly with Venus conjunct Saturn tomorrow and Mercury conjunct Chiron today. This is big time work. And it can bring you down. Remember, Saturn is reflection, often labeled depression. Venus is love and money. Pisces is health, hospitals, institutions, yes? You know, rehab centers, mental institutions, health hospitals. I mean, It's places of seclusion and isolation where you've got to step back. You've got to step out. You've got to, you got to get that bird's eye condor, or I guess up here in the north, it's the eagle view of things. This is a very good time to do it. And the thing is, sometimes it's interesting because, Mars is also moving out of Aquarius into Pisces. And the whole thing about Aquarius is non-attachment, right? I get that helicopter view. I get that whole view through detaching, non-attaching from the situation, from my emotions, from the feelings. I do it like scientifically under the microscope, but now Mars is moving into Pisces. I don't call it water, I call it ether, I call it spirit, but nonetheless, it has to do with the heart. And it has to do with, a return, and you could feel this, that's what suicide, Pisces Neptune is also suicide. It's just like, I just want to go back to source. I just want to return, to the womb, to the divine, to that state of innocence and peace and serenity. Art, music, dance. I just want to. But with Saturn there from 23 to 26, we've got 3 years where it's like the Peter has closed the gate to paradise, and there's a guardian at that gate, and we get to all answer our questions. We get to all answer for our karma. Saturn, the Lord of Karma, in Pisces, the sign of like freaking ultimate freaking karma. Saturn's closing a 28-year cycle. I looked it up just for you and me. The last time we had a Venus-Saturn conjunction, you may want to go back, if you're old enough, to February 2nd of 1996. That's the last time there was a Venus conjunct Saturn in the sign of Pisces. I mean, Venus goes around, it conjuncts Saturn every year, okay, but not in Pisces. The last end, the final closeout of a huge cycle of Saturn is happening. Yeah. You can also go back, if you're not that old, just go back to the last eclipse, because there was a south node solar eclipse at 21 degrees Libra, 8 minutes, last October 14th. So the nodes have been moving through Aries and Libra. They take a year and a half, right? From July of 23 to January of 25, we've got these nodes happening, okay, on this axis. I've talked about this before because Chiron was conjunct the node. I'm going to be talking a lot about Chiron, okay, in the webinar. I can't go fully into it today, but just understand Mercury, Chiron. And there's a part of me that says, you know what? Mercury, Chiron is just zip it. Just shut your mouth. It can be a crisis in communication, but it's a healing crisis, which is like if you just communicate with yourself for a little while, yeah, and maybe listen or take it in instead of Aries, putting it out. I just get this feeling. Mercury is entering its shadow period, yeah, as of tomorrow. It goes into its storm. Yeah, it's called the storm period because a few weeks from now, Mercury's going to go retrograde and it's going to come right back to where it is tomorrow. So they call that the storm period. So it's almost like this retrograde Mercury of reflecting, thoughtful reflecting. And Venus, Saturn, thoughtful reflecting on our heart, on our relationships, on our ability to love ourselves and forgive ourselves. Pisces has to do with forgiveness and compassion. So yeah, we've all, nobody's perfect. We've all done wrong. We've all done bad. We're all stupid fools, and we're all, amazing geniuses. Just like, let's get out of, Pisces. There is not so much of a polarity. Pisces is not good, bad, right, wrong, yes, no, black, white. Pisces is the totality, baby. It just all is. And we just are. Perfect in our imperfections. Speaking of which, that brings me to the Sabian frickin' symbol for the lunar eclipse. Because it has to do with what? A man watches his ideals taking a concrete form before his inner vision. The need to visualize clearly one's dreams or ideals in order to make them truly effectual. According to a French proverb, in quotes, what is well conceived can easily be formulated. The process of interior visualization can be quite essential, except in the case of a creative individual who has become a totally pure channel for the descent of spiritual power and a clear lens through which the archetype in the mind of man or God can be projected without distortion wherever needed. In other cases, which is in most cases, the creative act is less direct. A man or woman projects into the world what he or she has seen reflected on the screen of their individualized consciousness. This is a phase of interior formulation in preparation for a creative projection of one's ideals or concepts. This could not be more appropriate because, like I said, this is the inner visualization. This is the inner reflection. This is the listening. This is, getting, other people to give us shit. No, to like, okay, that's my shadow. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Now I see all my imperfections and all my wrongs and all my shame, and 2 weeks from now, the new moon, the solar eclipse, in the beginning sign of Aries, the initiator. That's the time to act. That's the time to do. That's why I had to change this week's mantra from do to see, because this is the week to see it. And then on the new moon is the time to do it. Yeah? We have some other help with this. And all we can say is that this is a very karmic time. These eclipses have to do with karma. They have to do with past life karma. They have to do with past life relationships that we are here to clean up. And they have to do with future karmic relationships of maybe meeting new people, okay, who are coming in that open doors of, into our future soul manifestation, right? But this karmic element, this karmic aspect, is also brought about by the Yod, the finger of God, the finger of destiny. And what we understand is if you look at that chart at the beginning of the Pele report, like I said before, all those planets are Pisces, Aries, Taurus. Pluto's up in Aquarius, okay, but mostly. And Pisces is sextile Taurus, which is like super cool, especially like Venus now. After tomorrow, and you have the conjunction, which is like the squeeze, she starts moving away. She starts a new cycle. So maybe you break or make contracts, right? Old agreements. This is a time of setting relationship goals, of reflecting on, okay, this helped me get here. Is it going to help me get to the next step, or do I need to let go of it in order to manifest the next step of myself, of my life purpose? So there's a lot of this, what has to stay, what has to go, and of course, habits. Like eating, diet, exercise, all this kind of thing is like, our immune, this is, whoa, got to build the immune system. Pisces and Neptune is in Pisces, rules that immune system on spiritual, mental, psychological, emotional, and physical levels. Boom, like, you don't have to be a psychic sponge where you like take it all in until you are, down the toilet into the collective unconscious that, has all the gnarly, nasty dragons in it, and eels and snakes and all that gnarly stuff. You don't get pulled down the wormhole, okay? You have to like, okay, this is collective and this is, personal. So, be aware of the tendency now to be psychically open to maybe some stuff that's really not yours. And it could be your partner's, it could be your mother's, it could be your grandfather's. I mean, yeah. But the odds, I wanted to talk about the odds because, so the moon, goes through Virgo, right? And then it goes into Libra. And when it goes into Libra, it's going to, create this yod between the sun in early Aries and Pluto, okay, in early Aquarius, right? 150 to Pluto, 150 to the sun, Pluto sextile, okay? That is very powerful. Right? And then a couple hours later, we have the eclipse. And then 21 hours later, boom, the moon is in a yod with Venus and Jupiter, right? So, this is, these yods, these fingers of destiny, this is like really powerful medicine. This is a really powerful weekend, and leading into, like I say, the eclipse is on Monday. So this is, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, like, keep your eyes wide open. The cool part, right? The good part. Venus is in a 300-degree sextile, right? She's in a balsamic sextile to Jupiter. And that balsamic sextile is, it's really a time period, all right, where, what is it? That 300-degree aspect is the new creative identity that we have towards the whole cosmos, right, is now given a productive purpose. Sextiles are opportunities. Venus will be pulling away from Saturn, moving towards Jupiter. Yes. Sun at a 60-degree sextile, moving away from Pluto. Yes. Yeah. I mean, this is, okay, it's like, I don't know, it's just like you're making something, like you're building something or you're creating something. Maybe it's a piece of jewelry or, it's just like, you gotta strain it. You gotta, pull out all the imperfections and pull out all the dust particles or whatever, you gotta polish that stone. I mean, this is just like, this is a 2-week period of a lot of reflection, And if you do your inner work, and you identify those habits and that conditioning, and I've always been, I've had my heart shut down, and I've rejected love, and I have, avoided, intimacy, and I have manipulated other people, and I have, and you identify, all this stuff about you, then, a couple of weeks from now, you can like really, then what resolution to make, what commitment to make, what, goal to set, what new manifestation of yourself, you really want to move towards. So the lunar eclipse is about the past. The solar eclipse is more about the future. So what we want to do now is, I've got, the image, and the song for this week I've got is Blackbird. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these lonely wings and learn to fly. All your life, you have always waited for this moment to arrive. Like a young bird who's ready to fly, I need to jump out of my nest of old habits, needs, and fears in order to see what's next. 2 weeks from now, you could change that mantra to in order to do what's next. But I had to scratch out do and put in see, because now we have to see it, and we have to inwardly visualize, the best version, higher version of ourselves that we want to put out there. And in order to be that best version of myself, I've got to get rid of, I got to stop, smoking, eating, drinking, whatever, I got to stop, swearing, whatever your trip is. You see what I'm saying? And I liked, I got so much response last week. It's like, you couldn't remember that Day by Day was in Godspell? And I never saw Godspell, so no. But I did notice that when I looked it up on YouTube. And, I got some positive response actually about mentioning God. Yeah, these days, it's just there's so many projections and misinterpretations and shadow, thrown onto the word God these days, because religion has corrupted and used and abused, its, so-called connection to God. That, it's understandable that there's, people that have issues and problems with it. I get that. But, and of course, also Christianity. However, I do have to go back. If you liked Godspell, how about Jesus Christ Superstar? Because I was thinking of when Mary Magdalene sings that song, I don't know how to love him. Relationships. I don't know why he moves me. I couldn't cope. I can't cope. There is this whole thing, should I scream and shout, talk of love, let my feelings out. I never thought I'd come to this. What's it all about? And if he said he loved me, I'd be lost. I'd be frightened. I couldn't cope. I just couldn't cope. I'd turn away. I'd walk away. I wouldn't want to know. He scares me so. Relationships can be scary because we expose ourselves. We expose our imperfections. The more intimate we are, the more vulnerable we are. So the closer the relationship, the scarier it is. And yeah. So I also thought, I'm going to make 2 songs for this week. Blackbird and I Don't Know How to Love Him, And you can listen to either one or both or neither one, depending on your taste in music. Oh, my God. Yeah, baby. So, okay, one more time. One more time. Like a young bird who's ready to fly, I need to jump out of my nest. The moon, you know. Of old habits, needs, and fears, that's the moon, in order to see what's next. What else can you say, man? Except namaste, aloha, so much love.